Stars, welcome to Free Motion Quilting Friday, take two, because I started the one a minute ago and realized I didn't have my AirPods in, which meant that our audio was going to be super echoey. So let me get y'all pulled up on my computer over here. Ba -ba -da -ba -ba -ba. While I'm pulling this up, if you are new here to story. My name is Holly Knight, and it is my job to guide you to quilt with confidence. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit subscribe and like this video. And we are going to spend some time together this morning working on quilting these quilting rockstar panels. Now, we've been working on this together for a few weeks. You may not do that during the video, young lady. Hop down, go to your bed. Go to your, yep, over here. Come on. Right here. This is your place. There you go. There's your place. We've been working on this for a couple of weeks, and I want to update you on the progress that I have made on the panels we've been doing. So as I'm doing this, if you log on, say hi in the chat so that I can greet you. Good morning, Dawn. All right, first up, we started a few weeks ago working on the Lanterns of Hope panel. This is a throw-sized quilt. All of these quilts are quilting cotton. These panels are printed in partnership with Paintbrush Studio Fabrics, and they are all available in my shop at stringandstory.com. So this is Lanterns of Hope. You will notice this is the same Having No Man. This is the same pattern as the quilt behind me. This quilt is pieced. So this is a pattern that is also available in my shop. And in the new panels, we have two colorways of printed panels. Now, what's so special about these panels? Havana really likes these panels, if that was not obvious. Honey. Oh. We all love you, but you're being disruptive. I know. Come on. Get down. All right. What's really special about these panels is they give you the opportunity to practice free motion quilting without having to be afraid of ruining something that you've pieced. Ruining, right? They just remove, no, down. They remove some of that anxiety, right? They also allow you to create gifts more quickly. There's nothing harder, right? Good morning, Jan. Good morning, Jeannie. There's nothing harder than wanting to make a gift for someone that you care about, but knowing that they don't really appreciate the time that it takes to piece a quilt, right? So here we are. All right, the other one that we've been working on is we've been working on these placemats together. Now, last week during our video, these were still a whole big panel. You are very persistent, but you're very disruptive. Get down. These are still a whole big panel. I finished quilting them this week. I've cut them apart and I've started to put the binding on. So you can see that as I flip these and get them bound, how very cute and adorable this is going to be, right? These are the fall placemats. Perfect for fall birthday dinners, Thanksgiving, etc. I love you, but I said no. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Diane. So excited. All right, I'm going to move these placemats out of the way. Let me show you the rest of them real quick. And today we're going to work on table runners. So here's the rest of the placemats, just to give you an idea. The placemats come in sets of 6. All 6 are a little bit different, but obviously they all coordinate super, super well. So working on binding those right now. And I will move, let's see, can I move these threads? Yes. And we're gonna work on this table runner. So I started this table runner as part of the videos that we filmed a few weeks ago. Those videos are being edited. They've started coming back to me. They look wonderful. I'm really excited. Thank you for the compliment of your attention. Pardon my very needy dog. Clearly she should have had a longer walk this morning. So when I started quilting this a few weeks ago, I was using green thread. So both of these colorways, so this is the spring colorway. You've seen the fall and the fall winter colorways. There are 2 thread collections that coordinate. So the spring summer thread collection includes this lovely emerald green that I was quilting with a few weeks ago, right? And it's delightful, but it's currently on my long arm. So we're going to start at the other end of the panel, and we're going to use another color from the same thread collection. These panels come in sets of 3 table runners to a panel. We're going to use this pink variegated. I've been looking for an excuse to use it. This is my moment. Let me get a fresh bobbin. And while I am getting a fresh bobbin to wind, I want to hear from you guys. No, Havana. I want to hear from you guys what you're working on this morning. What's going on in your sewing room? What are you up to? What time is it where you are? How's the weather? All the things. Abby, go get a bone or something. You are just very much. You are very much cutie pie. She is very cute, though. We have to give her that. Do any of y'all have dogs that are this persistent when you're trying to quilt? I've had my cats be this persistent, but I'm routinely amazed at Havana's persistence. The dog. That's the part that really gets me. Let's see. Did I just cleaned this bobbin race out up underneath? But you know what we are going to need? We are going to need a fresh needle because this one is getting dull. It was thunking on me yesterday. Let's see. Shane says, I'm working on considering getting out of bed. Shane, that's a hard decision. I got to be honest. I got out of bed this morning. Then Hubster told me that he was putting the Olympics on in our room, and I went and crawled right back in bed. So there's that. All right, let's do, love that I have size 18 needles. I don't know that I realized that I did. We're going to stick with size 16 for right now. Jan is hand binding and finishing up a bullseye quilt. I love like up and at 'em, Jan. That's amazing. I'm up and at 'em, but I'm still working on getting present. It's still the first cup of coffee. You know what I mean? Like still in first cup of coffee land. What are these needles over here? Oh, here's a size 16 needle. We can. Oh no, that's a flat shank. I don't know what size these are. Oh, that's a 14. Yeah, we don't want a 14. So I like to use at least a 16 when I'm quilting. I feel like anything smaller than that, the movement, especially on this machine. So this is an industrial machine. It moves real fast, 2,500 stitches per minute at full speed. I throttle that a bit for free motion quilting, but it is still really, really, really fast. And I feel like there's just too much risk of torque on the needle that's going to cause a broken needle with anything smaller. So I strongly prefer having at least a size 16 needle. Why does this say 14? Oh, because this is a size 14 because I was reading the wrong part of the package. All right. Take two. We will go to the 18 unless I have 16 hiding in my cabinet. As usual, we're doing real lifestyle around here because sometimes it's nice to know that in the sewing room of someone who has a whole quilting company, things still move kind of slow and puttery and whatnot. Let's check for a size 16 needle. BRB. I've got this lovely little shelf over here where I keep all the goodies. Those are 18s, 18s. All right, well, we'll just use an 18. That's cool. An 18 is probably a little bit overkill for a panel because it doesn't have any seams, but it won't hurt anything. Cheryl says, I'm basting a crib size quilt and hopefully starting to quilt it. Jeannie says, so far picked raspberries and peas from my garden, but beans have to wait till after this video. So I'm out for the first time in 3 days, so maybe no quilting today. Oh, yes, Jeannie, I understand that. We finally got some sun this week after just so much rain. We have just had so much rain. I think we were talking about that during Guild Social Hour this week. So I'm glad you're, oh, dang nabbit. Is it a live video with me if I don't drop something on the floor? Havana's like, what you doing, Mom? Dropping the things? If you'd let me up there, maybe you wouldn't have dropped the things. Yeah, I don't think that has anything to do with it, Boo Girl. Oh, I remember what I was going to do. I wanted to drop this link for you guys for the Quilting Rockstar panel. So many of you have already checked out this page, but if you have not, you're going, oh, wait, I didn't pay attention to those table runners before, but now I'm going to need to get me some. That's where you can go. Also, we are expecting the Quilting Rockstar 2 thread boxes to arrive from Chicago any day now. They have arrived from Italy to Chicago. So they need to make their way from Chicago to us. I have not yet gotten a shipping notification yet, so it should be very soon. And then as soon as they get here, they will go back out to those of y'all who have ordered, which is very, very, very exciting. All right. No, not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Get our bobbin wound. Jeannie says, ordered the Lanterns of Hope and thread, but sent to your daughter. I saw that, Jeannie, and I had the same thought. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that she was able to save on shipping to Canada and just have it shipped to South Carolina. And then I was like, but that means you won't see it until like October, November. So far. Oh my goodness. Good morning, Helen. Just tidying myself. Havana has finally decided to go to sleep. Good girl. Can you guys see the colors on this bobbin? I'm so excited. It's like a very, very light pink to a quite dark pink on this variegated. And full disclosure, when I colors for the spring summer thread box, I did it based on matching the paintbrush solids. So I hadn't actually seen all the colors in person when I chose them. Fortunately, it worked out well. Um, but I sent the colors off to Aurifil, and then I asked my girl Kate up at Aurifil, I said, by the way, can you send me one of each? Because I don't actually have them all. I just know that I want them to coordinate with these panels. And so they arrived, like 3 days later or something, because Chicago to Atlanta super quick. And I didn't realize that this pink was variegated until it arrived. And I am so happy about it. We just call that a happy accident. Because I don't use variegated threads very often, but I feel like these panels are a perfect opportunity to use a variegated thread. So I plan on embracing it wholeheartedly. And another really good thing, I don't see a question about it in the chat yet, but just it pops up. I've never had any trouble with Aurifil variegated threads. I know sometimes variegated threads can get a bad rap for breaking more often or whatnot, but I've never had any trouble with Aurifil. If you do have issues with a variegated, it's because in order to achieve that varied effect, they have to expose the fibers to dye agents multiple times. And it can cause strain on the cotton fibers, but Aurifil does a really, really good job not degrading their thread as part of the dye process. So it's very splendid to work with, and it's never given me a lick of trouble. Carolyn, I'm so glad you're here. Happy birthday! Woohoo! Now, this came up in our Quilting Rock Stars guild the other day. Carolyn, I'm gonna share about the conversation we had the other day because I think it's super valuable for everybody. But Carolyn shared a story about how she had quilted a panel. She was very proud of it, and she brought it to a guild show and tell. And a woman at her guild called the panel a cheater. She came up to look at the quilt, and when she got up close and saw that it was printed instead of pieced, she said, "Oh, you used a cheater." And did not say this in a very kind way, right? So let's talk for a moment the term cheater. First of all, we do not have time in quilting to be saying unkind things like this to each other, right? We do not have time in quilting to be criticizing other people's styles or preferences or choices ever. We don't have time for that. We're here to quilt and be joyful and enjoy this wonderful hobby. We don't have time to tear each other down, right? So that's part one. But part two, calling a panel a cheater. Now, there are two ways that this could be, right? One, this comment could be straight up derisive. In the case that this comment is derisive, I was sharing with Carolyn that that's a reflection on the person who said it, not on the person who chose to use a panel, right? And for all we know, this person who came up to her, maybe someone had said something ugly to them when they used a panel in the past. And they kind of internalized that as like, oh, like we should think less of panels, right? Or maybe this person feels insecure about their piecing skills, right? Maybe they have trouble getting nice points on their quilt and they notice Carolyn's quilt and we're like, oh my gosh, the points look so good. How does she piece them like that? Immediately starts playing a comparison game in their head, right? Walk over to the quilt, realize that it's not in fact pieced. And there's this element of relief, but it's not like a sweet relief. It's kind of a bitter, like one-upped relief, right? Of like, oh, you're not actually any better than me, right? Derisive comments like that, a couple things we can do. First of all, we don't want to let anyone live rent free inside of our heads, right? So, a comment like that, you got it. My dad would say, you got to let it roll off like water off a duck's back. It used to drive me nuts when my dad would say this to me, right? But he's right because you can't let it brew in your head. You got to be like, that's about them. That's not about me. I'm going to let it like roll right off, right? But the other thing is, you could take this as a moment for compassion, right? But in order to take it as a moment of compassion, it's important to think through a scenario like this ahead of time because when someone makes an ugly comment like that to us, our limbic system takes over, right? We get really anxious, we might get sweaty, our heart might beat fast. It can be really hard to come up with a response. In the movie You've Got Mail, Meg Ryan has this whole thing where she's like, I can never think of the response in the moment. It's always later that I like think of the biting response that I wish I had said to someone who is mean to me. And then she kind of goes through this process of then later coming up with the biting response, saying it out loud to Joe Fox, her opposite character, and realizing how yucky it makes her feel. Right now, part of the reason that she had trouble coming up with this derisive response in the moment the first time around is because her limbic system took over. She was in fight or flight, right? But then she went home and she rehearsed the things she wished she could say to Joe Fox, right? And the next time she saw him, they came out of her mouth. Now, in her case, it was an unfortunate scenario. She was not being a kind human either, right? Which is, part of the humor of the movie of how they develop in their relationship. But this also works for having a kind and gracious response, right? So we talked about this for, yay, Fritzy! We talked about this in the guild, and I want to share it here, but it's important because we all encounter quilt police type characters, right? We all encounter people who are going to make critical comments about our quilts. It's important for us to rehearse how to respond gracefully, right? So a gracious response in that moment might be, yes, I used a panel using the word panel because there is a possibility that this person, instead of being derisive, just simply doesn't have the word panel. They've always heard it called a cheater, don't know that there's another term that it has, less negative connotations to it, right? Yes, I chose to use a panel because, and while you do not owe this person an explanation, as a moment of education. I chose to use a panel because I've really been prioritizing learning free motion quilting, and this was a great way to get to practice without having to piece a quilt first, right? Almost anyone is probably going to respond to that and be like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. Or like, oh, that's a good idea. Right. So using this as a moment of education, maybe just saying, like, oh, yes, it's a panel. If you don't want to go into offering a whole explanation, just own it. Because here's the thing whoever this human is, whether it's the literal human that we're discussing in Carolyn's situation, right? Or a theoretical human of someone you may know that makes comments like this, their opinion doesn't actually matter. Someone at the guild says something mean, like, that's on them. That's not on you. That's a commentary about them and their insecurities and their quilting, not on you, right? So you could offer an explanation if you feel like you have the emotional energy for a little moment of education. You could also just simply say, like, yeah, it's a panel and move on. And it's okay. Like it. Because just like we don't want them to be crapping on our taste, we don't want to be crapping on theirs. And maybe for them, they just like really have not gotten behind the panel thing, right? It could be because of like internalized prejudice against panels because they've always heard them called cheaters, right? It could also just be that they don't free motion quilt, so they don't necessarily have the same use for a panel. Okay. So the bottom line here, the reason I wanted to talk through this is because I think it's important. Um, even in quilting, to use these as little learning opportunities because we can translate these same skills out into the rest of our life as well. The importance of letting things roll off, that when someone makes a mean comment, it's a commentary on them, not on you. That their opinion doesn't need to change your actions. They can have an opinion, you can have a different opinion, and it's unkind of them to be, making commentary about it. But again, you can choose to let it roll off. Don't hold on to ugly critical comments like this. Don't let those things live rent free in your head and become part of your inner mean grump, right? Don't feed the IMG. These are the things that the IMG is like way thirsty for and wants to roll around, right? And when possible, using this as an education moment, a moment to practice staying calm under pressure and offering a gracious response. We can all use practice in that area, right? So there's my little soapbox for the morning. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Carolyn, I'm just so gracious or so thankful that you graciously shared this story with us the other day. So thank you for letting me continue to use it as a teaching moment. So Valerie is hi from Michigan, working on a quilt on my lawn. Decided to do different motifs in different areas for the first time. Love it. Yeah, it does take a lot of stopping and starting. Um, the first couple of times I stopped and started, it was a lot more frustrating to me than it is now, if that's helpful. Um, let's see. You're in Tennessee, but we're raised in Michigan. That's awesome, Jan. Helen says, I've seen more fabric and panels out there that looked piece. It's very cool. Yes, it's the easy button. Sometimes that's okay. Some people don't need piece quilts, but need a quilt. Yes, Helen, that is exactly it. Speaking of, as we're going to start quilting this, let me take my shoe off. That is exactly it. And that was exactly the heart behind these Quilting Rockstar panels is let's make it so that you can make a quilt without having to do the piecing, whether that's because you want to practice free motion quilting, because you want to make more charity quilts, whatever the reason, because you want to make gifts. Great, great, great stuff. All right, so what we're doing here is we have a loopy meander in the background and we have swirls in the center of this hexagon shape. I stitched in the ditch when I was getting started with this. I'm debating if I'm going to do that. I might use my ruler. That's what I'll do. Where's my ruler? Sorry, Heavy. Didn't mean to disturb you. She's like, I finally got settled. Now you start whistling at me. Because here's what I want to do. I'm going to show you this on the back. I stitched in the ditch for all of these seams before, and it looks really good. It truly makes it look pieced. But as much as I'm not usually bothered by the back of a quilt, it's a few more lines than I would love. If this was a printed back, I probably wouldn't care. But I also just don't want to spend that much time stitching in the ditch today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my ruler out, and I'm going to use my ruler to stitch in the ditch around this octagon as we're going along. But I'm going to set myself free from having to switch feet back and forth. Oh, Carolyn, you are so kind. You are so kind. I've been doing a lot of reading around this topic actually. This is I've been working on understanding how our brain gets hijacked by our limbic system and sorting all that out. It comes with the territory of not just building a business, but particularly building a business that is community and social based, right? That I get a lot of criticism. I get a lot of commentary. So I've been doing a lot of reading. I've been working on in therapy, like how to deal with that, and it's been useful for me. So it's really fun to get to share it and say, hey, this might be useful for you guys too. All right, so we're gonna do this loopy meander. I'm gonna just like do the loopy meander for a little bit. This is a very pale pink background. This again, I believe, is our strike off. Yes, so this pink is a little bit darker on the final iteration of these panels if you order them in the shop. And then, once I kind of a little bit of progress on loopy meander, then I will come to an edge, grab my ruler, and we'll do a little bit of ruler work, hit those swirls in the middle, and then carry on, okay? Now, all of the motifs that I am using for these Free Motion Quilting Friday videos are motifs that I teach in my introductory class, Intro to FMQ. It is essentially the first unit of my signature course, Free Motion Quilting Academy, but I love offering it separately because it allows you the opportunity to try out free motion quilting and to try out learning from me, and specifically learning free motion quilting from me without the same level of commitment as Free Motion Quilting Academy, either financially or time-wise, right? And these three motifs, swirls, switchbacks, meander / loopy meander, give you a lot of options. And if you've been following along with this series, you're familiar with that. You just saw the placemats and the Lanterns of Hope panel, and those were all using these same motifs as well. So you don't necessarily have to know a ton of motifs to be able to beautifully quilt your own quilts and to even semi-custom quilt your own quilts. So that's what this is all about for you guys. Jeannie says, I love stitching the ditch. You don't like using a ruler foot for free motion quilting? I put it on and leave it on if I'm doing any ruler work. Yes. So, Jeannie, what I was saying is I'm not going to change feet in order to do stitch in the ditch with a piecing foot, that I'm going to use my ruler foot instead. So, yeah, I love using my ruler foot for free motion quilting. It is also my preference for exactly this reason of like, I get the machine all threaded, I get the foot on, and I go, oh, shoot, I actually do want some of this to be in the ditch. And then it allows me to just carry right along. All right, I'm just checking my tension real quick. It's looking pretty good. I think we're good to go. Isn't it nice how easy this ruler makes these simple ditches? I love it. I'm also very excited about these table runners. I love little little simple things that can make a table look nice. So when we got married, I asked for a couple of just like really simple tablecloths and placemats. So I got a denim tablecloth, I got some cream placemats, some navy placemats, and then some like navy cloth napkins and some like pink plaid cloth napkins. Actually, very similar colors to this now that I think about it. Maybe I'll use those napkins with this table runner. Um, but there were two reasons. One, we were very, very poor when we got married. And I was looking for ways to reduce recurring expenses. And so things like paper towels, napkins, like that. I was like, yeah, nope, don't want to have to, be buying those every month. But if I ask for this on my registry, then, we'll have these things. But also, just simply using cloth napkins and some simple placemats really like elevates the look of a table. And now when we have people over, it tends to be really large groups, a little bit more party style. But then we would often have just like a couple of people over for dinner. And dinner was not usually anything very fancy because, again, we did not have a lot of money. But it was nice to be able to just easily set a nice table. It's still nice if we have friends come into town, anything like that, just simply um, putting some napkins out, right? Just to kind of elevate the situation a little bit. And that's something that I'm really excited about with these placemats and with the table runners from this set is like, oh, this will be a really easy way to make fresh things for my table that won't require a lot of time because I won't have to piece it. So I have taught a 3-hour class on rulers in the past, and then I won't be too upset. It has been a while since I have taught it, and I'm right now working on the workshops that I want to offer this fall. We didn't do a lot of workshops this spring because I've been moving, etc. But I'm really kind of missing some of those opportunities. So I think there will be some classes coming back because yeah, I love teaching some basic grids and straight lines and basic curves in my intro to ruler work class. I love how y'all are talking about where you live. I just think that's absolutely wonderful. Who here has taken that ruler work class / who here would like to take that ruler work class? Also, for those of you who commented about classes for the panels, I'm so excited about how many of you guys would be interested in intermediate to advanced. Quilt, keep an eye out for those announcements. In fact, I probably should send an email, maybe today's newsletter. I should probably send an email of all the upcoming events at String and Story because honestly, there's a whole lot of them. Complete like off the cuff invitation. The last weekend in September, Duluth, where I live, has a wonderful fall festival. It is one of the very best in the Southeast, and we are the arts and crafts sponsor this year. And we will have a booth at the show, and we will be selling fabric, and we will be selling panels. And I will actually, the plan, if everything goes according to plan, which it rarely does, but hopefully it will in this regard, I'll also be selling quilted panels. So I'm excited about that, to be offering some like finished goods for the first time in a really long time. So we would love to have you come out. We'll have thread. It's going to be wonderful. Hopefully some swag too. So if you happen to be in the area or you're looking for an excuse to be in the area, last weekend of September, it's going to be big fun. Truly can't wait. Truly, truly, truly can't wait. All right, let's see. And yes to the long arm class. Yes, Jan, that is on my radar to hopefully film in early January. So 2022 will hopefully be the year of the long arm class. My goal is for it to be kind of the sister class to Free Motion Quilting Academy, but it will not be the exact same syllabus because working on a long arm is different. And there are some things that we've, kind of glossed over in classes in the past that I want to do a little bit more talking about in terms of like rolling back and forth, etc. Oh, Jeannie. Okay, so Jeannie is coming into town November 3rd, and I love that you are lobbying for class. Let me look at my calendar. Where is my calendar? On Thursday the 4th. I will think about it. I need to find out when I'm leaving town for my Social Educators Academy graduation. That's a program that I participated in this spring, a coaching program with Glow Atanmo over at Glow Graphics. She's incredible. Um, so I need to find out when I'm leaving town for that. It's after the 3rd. I just don't know how soon after the 3rd. I love these questions. Yay. Um, I'm trying. Yes to the ruler work class, ruler work and long arm. Yes. Yep. They're on my radar, guys. Yay! I know my schedule is crazy. I've been sending emails about QuiltCon already. Who's going to QuiltCon? That's really far in advance. But will anyone be in Phoenix? Just to talk you through what I'm doing over here quilty-wise, by the way, I'm just filling in some simple swirls inside this octagon. So I did my loopy meander down to here, did my stitch in the ditch, did a little bit more loopy meander. I'm jumping into this octagon. I will kind of fill it as I fill it and then jump back out and continue with the loopy meander. Yay! Oh yeah, have you decided which long arm? That's a really good question, Jeannie. So I got lost in my thoughts about QuiltCon and free motion quilting and filling in these swirls and how much I really love this variegated thread. It's a fun little spicy touch here. Just a little bit of spice, it's like a cinnamon sugar level spice. I love these emojis, you guys. I love that you guys are eager for more classes because I love teaching. That makes me so very happy, and I just want you guys to know that. And please know, I say this once in a blue moon. I probably should say it more often. If you ask me about a class and I don't have an answer, and you, keep asking me. Y'all been asking me for a long arm class for a really long time, and I just want you to know, that is never annoying to me. That is really exciting. And it's frustrating to me because I love to be a person of action. It's frustrating to me when I cannot just immediately jump and be like, yes, and now we're doing it. But I do just want you to know that I want you to keep asking, keep these things top of mind to me, so that anytime we have availability, I know what we need to be putting in the schedule. Oh, yes, a close-up of the variegated thread. Let's see, do I have another spool of it? I don't think I do. All right, I'll move the camera over before I sign off so that you guys can see it over here on the spool and on the quilt. Yeah, we'll at least get this little blockety block done before we call it a morning. So what I love about stitching in the ditch on these panels is that it allows me, so, it's a fake ditch, right? It's a printed ditch. But by, making it look like a ditch, it means that when I bump up against the edges, I can travel there, right? And it blends right in. That was the bobbin I was winding at the beginning. I put the variegated thread in my bobbin. I match my top and bobbin almost obsessively. The exception will be with tones of gray or tones of navy. So if you were with me last week, I was using Aurifil 2600 on the top, and I think it was 2610 in the bottom, and literally the reason for that was my bobbin ran out and I didn't want to wind another one, and I had another bobbin that was already wound of the 2610. 2610 is a little bit darker than 2600, but same color family. So same thing like with navies. If I have like a navy like this, which is a pretty bright navy, versus like a really dark or a dusty navy, I'll use those bobbins interchangeably because those little variations on the back of the quilt just honestly don't bother me. Especially because oh, Jan, I have stories. Especially because the fact that I'm using a solid fabric for a backing is real weird. Like I almost always use print backings. I was sharing with the guild that one of the next things that I really want us to do is get a few prints in the online shop because Paintbrush just announced some really, really cute new print lines. And it's bugging me that all I have to offer you guys as coordinating backings is solids because it works, but I like a good print back. I think that's really fun. So there you go. I know I didn't have to because I didn't want to have to wind it. Stopping to wind a bobbin is a giant pain because this isn't run independently from the machine. I wish it did. That would be a great improvement for this machine. Kate Brennan, I'm so delighted to see you. I owe you a polo and some measurements of your quilt. I have not forgotten. I've just been a little busy. Jan, I love that you're going to be 69 in December and keep learning and making progress. That makes me so happy. So I am hoping to have a booth at QuiltCon. That's the first time I've said that out loud. That is what we are figuring out right now is if that is an option. It'll be a pain to get everything to Phoenix, but I'm hoping. Sent an email about it this morning. Kate Brennan, I don't know if I told you that. So hi, there's that. That's why I've been asking you so many questions about everything. I'm not teaching a class at QuiltCon, but I may do a demo. We will see. There's a couple of things that I would like to do. And I would love to teach at QuiltCon in the future. It just hasn't happened yet. So it'll come. So Jan, negative comments or emails. My favorite negative. Well, there's two ends of the spectrum of negative comments, right? Well, okay, no, there's three. It's kind of a triad. So when it comes to, shall we say, hate mail, which is just hilarious. That feels very dramatic. But there are basically three buckets, okay? There's the bucket where it actually hurts, right? Sometimes I get emails that things are personal and it actually, right? Those are those things that you just have to be like, and do your best to let it roll. But it's hard, right? But then there's the two like kind of humorous categories. One is people get so angry that they become unintelligible. And it's been a while since this has happened, but I have had it happen. And truth be told, if someone emails me and they're so angry they're unintelligible, I will probably just delete the email and move on with my life. But I will kind of chuckle a little bit. And the reason that I chuckle is because it's quilting, right? Like, this is very important to us. And yet, in the grand scheme of things that are important in the universe, like, it's not worth getting that worked up about, right? Because we're here to enjoy it. The other end is stuff that's just funny. Forever, my favorite's a funny word, but my favorite refund request for Free Motion Quilting Academy was a woman. This was a while ago now, but she purchased Free Motion Quilting Academy, and within 12 hours, she had like watched the intro videos and emailed me and was like, "You're too cute and bubbly. I can't learn from you. I want my money back." And at the time, it honestly really hurt my feelings because like I hadn't gotten a whole lot of interesting emails like that up until that point. But looking back on it now, I think it's hysterical. And so it's a running joke in my family now here at the office of, oh, Leanne, you're just too cute. Like we can't handle it. So yeah, anyway, there's that. Kate Brennan, when you were getting used to your Juki, did you have trouble with thread breaks when moving different directions? I'm having breaks when I move backwards. I think I'm moving too fast. First of all, are you on a Juki? What did I miss? It probably means your tension is just a smudge too tight. The other thing that it could mean is that your needle may not be aligned. There's 3 things. Your tension could be a smudge too tight. Your needle, especially if your needle's like mine, where the, like, shaft bit has to face that, like, groove in the front of the shaft has to face to the left. If that's not, like, just right, the thread will catch the edge funny and break. And that would especially make sense if you're moving, directly forward or directly backward, where it might press on that groove. So that could be just off a little bit. The other thing it could be is your presser foot might be too. That's the bugger that causes me the most thread breaks is if I try to fool around with my presser foot height because I'm working on something that has a lot of seams and I get it too high. So just adjust that down a smudge and it might solve the problem as well. So there's my 3. Oh, on your Janome. Yes. So there's the 3 that I would try. I don't know. Jana, here's what I figured, Jan. When people send me mean or whatever stuff, they got stuff going on. They got stuff going on. And this was one of the first things that I taught Heather when she started helping with customer service is, um, sometimes we get questions that maybe we've shared the answer to, and she's like, I don't understand. Like, I know you've given the answer, and people are busy. So reading is hard, right? Like making sure you catch all the details of a thing is hard. This happens to me all the time because I'm busy too, right? But when people send emails and they're frustrated or they're angry, um, I always assume one of 2 things, right? Either, especially if it's something around technology, like they've had bad experiences with technology in the past, or people have said critical things to them about technology or their ability to use technology, and they just have a really ugly IMG in their head about that, right? The other thing that I assume is that something terrible could have happened in their life, and this is especially true over the last year, especially if someone emailed me and it was something that was like, I don't feel like level of emotion matches what you're needing from me. Um, John would say, like, what, like, why would they email you like that? I'm like, for all I know, like, their husband has COVID, or their sister died last week, or their kid broke their arm, and they're, trying to decompress by quilting. And now the thing that they need, whether that's logging in to watch a video or whatever, in order to succeed at quilting, like, isn't working. And they're just feeling like they can't win at anything. Right. So I just always assume that there's something else going on, right? And sometimes we've just made a mistake, right? Like there's definitely been things where I get an email of like, I can't find such and such thing. And I go in there and like, I didn't click the right button. And like, I have to email them back, but I didn't click the right button. I'm sorry, it's there now. You know, like all of that. Let's see. What's in the guild feed? What do we need? Ba ba ba. Ooh, the Kayla Simmons got a nice print from Paintbrush for as a backing for. I saw that this morning. I didn't read the caption, but I saw a star bright with a backache, so I know the one you're talking about. Yay! Okay, fabulous. Though, Kate, I still wish you were on a Juki. All right, so we were talking about QuiltCon just for kicks and giggles. Is anyone going to be there? I know Kate will be there. Kate, are we going to cause trouble? I listened to like the first 5 seconds of your polo last night, and I loved how you were like, all the hotels are closed. It'll be fine. I thought that was great. Um, and to your point, Carolyn, when I'm talking about it here, it's easy to be very calm, right? But this is also a great reminder that time any of us send an email to anyone ever, right? Like to any company, any organization, any whatever. There's a real human on the other side, and it can be easy to forget that. And so when we're responding to emails, whether they're like critical or anything else, it's most important to us that we remember that like we're emailing a real rock star, and we don't know the day you've had. But it's also really helpful when folks remember that like we're humans on this end too. And sometimes we have a day and it can be a whole thing. So really what it is it's remembering each other's humanity. And I don't always get it right. Like I have definitely been known to get emails that hurt my feelings and I'm like ranting and crying. I try not to do that in the response back, but I have to deal with my feelings first. Um, but it's about practicing it. It's about practicing being kind to each other. It's a muscle. We never know what's going on in their life. We try to keep that in mind. Plus, didn't everyone's grandmother tell them if you have nothing nice to say, say nothing at all? Yeah, though sometimes firmness is still needed in every area of our life. I think on the one hand, I like totally agree with you, Jeannie, and on the other hand, I think it's important to remember that sometimes we do need to stand up for ourselves, you know, and that doesn't always come across as real nice in the moment. So anyway, look at that. We're like 2 soapboxes in today. 2 whole soapboxes in. So, my dears, completely unrelated to the soapboxes of the morning, let me just spread this out and fully introduce you to these lovely table runner panels. I'm wrapping up my loopy meander on the back of this first block. Um, I'm loving these. These are going to be a fun way. I mean, just picture like putting this in the center of your table, put a vase of flowers on this one. You got the salt and pepper shaker on this one. You've got your butter dish on the other. It looks super hecka cute. We all love it. And these come in 4 colorways. So, shameless plug as usual. By the way, thank you all so much for those of you who have been ordering in support of our Work with Preface project. I will be announcing our official number later today as far as the money that we've raised. We're really excited about this new partnership with Preface, being able to support early childhood literacy, not only here in Gwinnett County, but across nearly a dozen states in the US. And excited to work with an organization that set their sights on expanding internationally as well, because early childhood literacy is important in all of our states and in all of our countries. And as a kid who was more often than not lost in a book, I'm excited to be part of bringing that joy, but also that important life skill to young elementary kids. So thank you all for your support of that. I will be announcing that final number later today. So keep an eye on my social feeds. But the bottom line is the rock stars, y'all, we're rock stars about it. And we will be raising money for Preface again and continuing to work with them. JT is someone that I've known kind of indirectly for a really long time. It's really exciting to finally get to know him personally. He's the founder of Preface Project. And we're already fast friends. So Preface is stuck with us and we're stuck with them. And I am here for it. Oh my goodness. Carolyn says this class is wonderful. I spent a blue bloody fortune with classes the first couple of years I started quilting. I've learned more in these few short weeks than in those 2 years. Carolyn, that is honestly exactly what I want to hear. And truly, I am taking a screenshot of that because I want to remember those words. Before I do go, so I've already dropped the Quilting Rockstar panel link for you guys. I'm going to drop it one more time. But on that note, I'm going to drop a list to our classes and programs. Intro to Free Motion Quilting and Free Motion Quilting Academy are up there right now. If you have a guild that would like to book a virtual lecture, I am doing virtual lectures. And I will send out an email here soon with some class dates and opportunity to jump into like a ruler work class and stuff like that, because it sounds like it is time. So let's bring that back and add some more teaching into things. Jeannie says, I keep telling my husband I'm supporting small businesses. He wanted to know if that is everyone in North America. Small businesses are growing really, really fast. So there's that. On this class page, you're going to see Intro to Free Motion Quilting. That's going to teach you the motifs that I'm using in all of these Free Motion Quilting Friday videos. So if you are brand new to Free Motion Quilting, you want to get your feet wet but not feel overwhelmed, truly you can take this class this weekend, right? So get the class, look over it today, hop over to the quilt shop if you need a Free Motion Quilting foot or anything like that, and you could be quilting these motifs by the end of the weekend, which if you're going to do that, you're going to need some panels to practice on, so make sure you grab some of those from the shop as well. The other class that you're going to see at the top of the classes page is Free Motion Quilting Academy. This is the course that Carolyn is referring to. It's my 12-week signature course where I walk you through all of the foundational skills as well as 30 motifs. You go from being a baby beginner free motion quilter to a confident intermediate quilter. This is the last time I'm teaching this course this year, and it might be the last time that I teach it for a whole year. That is currently the plan. that this is the last time for another 12 months that I'm going to be walking everybody through. Enrollment will open in August, but you can go ahead and get your name on the wait list and review everything that's included, including the price over there on that page about Free Motion Quilting Academy. Okay? Yay, yay, yay. Minnie Wolf says, learn Free Motion Quilting Academy. I've learned so much. And Jan says, can't say enough about Free Motion Quilting Academy. Y'all are wonderful rock stars. Thank you for spending this morning with me. It's been really fun to work on this project together. I'm going to continue working on some panels, doing some quilting today. Next week, we're going to skip Free Motion Quilting Friday because my kids have Meet the Teacher Day. And I'm going to go with them to their new school. But I will be back in 2 weeks right here. Next week, there should be a fresh blog and video up for you guys. So keep an eye on all my social channels for that. So there will still be some fun quilty content, even if we're not here live together. All right, I'll see you guys then.